All right, welcome back, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, right here on the YouTube and the Twitch and wherever you folks get your podcast audio worldwide. To my left, your right, we've got Alicia joining me tonight. How are you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Good, good. My apologies for being late. It's just life sometimes. Life happens. But we are here to talk all things TNA, coming off of a hot live crowd tonight in Full Sail University. Oh, man. But before we dive into news and all things TNA related, just want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Manscaped. That link is in the description of the video. One of the best deals going in town right now. Use code TNI for free shipping and 20% off your order. Go to manscaped.com. We love our sponsor. Go let them know you love Manscaped and you love yourself some TNI. And while you're at it, make sure you folks smash that like button, smash that sub button if you're new and you're enjoying the content, and ring that bell for notifications. Alicia, first reactions to tonight's show. What did you think?
As you can tell, it's a show.
Okay. I got you. So, clearly we had different reactions.
I mean,
but we'll get into it.
I'm tired. It's 11:08 at night, so.
I hear you. And my apologies for that. All right. So, let's start off with some news. I think Bill is going to be joining us, but I know he's, depends on how quickly he gets out of the. Hang on, let me switch that around.
Oh yeah. You don't have to.
Trying to. Nope, don't want to remove it. Oh, well.
You can figure it out.
There it is. Okay. Take two. Do it again. There we go.
Now put me back the other way. I didn't look weird.
All right. That's fine.
Appreciate it.
Sure. And as we go through stuff tonight, let us know in the chat what you thought of the show. So let's start out with the hottest news coming right off the show. We've got reports through one of my favorites. I know he's one of your favorites too, Alicia. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reporting that Elijah has signed with TNA Wrestling. Now, I have not seen anything official from TNA yet, but that may come within the next day, next week. Cool. We'll have to wait and see.
I'll appreciate it when I hear it from them. How about that?
But for the sake of what all happened tonight, I will say I was very excited in seeing Elijah tonight.
Yeah, cool music. I'm pretty sure me and Bill saw him when we went to the Battleground show back in Philly. Was it a couple months ago now? December maybe?
Yeah. There's a good chance that he's been wrestling regularly in the indies. Mm-hmm. I think mainly staying on the East Coast because he is from Philly. So like your neck of the woods, you and Bill's neck of the woods there. So yeah, I was reminded in the chat during the live reaction that he was let go back in September of 2023.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what took so long for him to like sign a new contract with a bigger company, you know,
I
besides doing indies. But
I would say it's not uncommon for someone to leave a place like WWE and then kind of surf the indies for a little while before showing up at a more official place. It's yeah, you got to think of it. You almost have to relearn how to wrestle in the indies because you're taught a certain way at WWE, and a lot of the rules in place over there don't count when you're wrestling anywhere else. So
yeah,
I can see that being like an assimilation almost, or a reassimilation back into the wild.
yeah, and that does make sense. Yeah, and the thing about him is I was never familiar with him in his indie stuff before he came to the WWE, and he was in the WWE for 8 years, which is I'd say it's a pretty good career.
That's a stretch for sure, and he was
Yeah,
notable throughout it. So I think that's a form of success there.
yeah. Like as soon as he showed up on NXT, I was a fan of his, which it
Mhm.
was probably was the same place in yeah, because
Full Sail?
that's where they were at Full Sail prior to the pandemic. They that's where they were since
Mhm.
20 what was it 2012 2012 I believe was when they started back then.
You got me.
That was a start. That was back when I'll just just to put a time frame on it, that was pre-Shield. So yeah, that goes back a bit. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns was a heel, and the old Dean Ambrose wasn't even on TV because they were scared to put him on TV. It's hilarious. Anyways, um,
Well, look
but
at
yeah,
him
so
now.
yeah, world champ, he's rocking it. Um, not scared to put him on TV no more. All right, so I also want to talk about what happened on NXT for a bit. I I know Alicia does not watch NXT, so we're just going to briefly go over some of this. Um, Moose showed up at the top of the show to challenge Oba Femi, and Oba Femi also crossed the line tonight to show up on TNA. That was expected, um, and I don't know exactly when that match is going to go down. My guess is WrestleMania weekend at Unbreakable,
Uh-huh.
because they have a match now set up for Sacrifice. Let me just double check this. The Sacrifice card for Texas. This is March 14th. So this is just 3 weeks away. We got a couple matches here. We'll just go over these real quick because it's news all around. We got Masha Slamovich defending her TNA Knockouts World Championship against NXT's Cora Jade. I cannot wait for that one. Sacrifice is also going to feature the Rascalz and Ace Austin versus Wesley, Tyson Dupont, and Tyriek Igwe. That is not the match I was thinking of. But anyways, I believe the match I was thinking of is actually set up for next week, I believe. And that's going to have Oba Femi and the Hardys against 3 members of the System, I believe is what it is. So we can't wait for that. That is going to be nuts. And that's just a sneak preview of what's going to happen in the days and weeks to come in this partnership between TNA and NXT/WWE. Some very exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's nice that they share the time on each other's programs.
It is.
Even though I don't watch, I'm watching the chat here, and everybody's stating how they appreciate how our guys are showing up there as much as their guys is showing up there. It feels like an honest partnership, as opposed to a get one over.
It is. It is. It's not. It's not.
Some people.
Yeah, which as exciting as that partnership was for a while between TNA and AEW, because, namely, I think people were excited to see Kenny Omega. He was still very popular, but he was on another level back then. He was much healthier when he was champ, and that really shook the foundation of TNA, and Don Callis being part of that and going back and forth. That was crazy. That was a crazy time, but that unfortunately there was not much more positive that came out of that. So, but yeah, we also saw the Colóns tonight on TNA, and we'll get into more what happened there in a bit. I don't have any news on them. I got a feeling that may be just a one-off. I could be wrong. But we'll see. I tell you what, if they join TNA, I'm not complaining, because they're veterans. They're, they've been around the world a million times, just like others have been, and they've got all the experience in the world. They're a weathered team. So, what's that?
Where do they fit? That's the question you got to ask sometimes with these people. It must be nice to see them. It's nice to see them when they pop up, but in the long run, where do they fit?
Well, I'd say just something new and fresh in the tag division. It could be a one-off. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It was interesting that they were wearing some TNA gear. Really? I mean, they're free agents, I imagine, because aren't these WWE guys? Former. Okay. Yeah, they've got their own. They got their own company / school, I believe, down in, I want to say, Puerto Rico. Cool. I could be wrong, but I want to say Puerto Rico. So, but yeah, family is rich in history, some controversy, but at least none of my business. It goes way back. It goes, if you know, you know. But anyways, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. What else? They've been advertising a lot of shows lately. The Unbreakable show that's happening during Mania weekend. They're also got the pay-per-view coming up. I believe is that on the West Coast? They got a lot of shows coming up, folks. So check your area for tickets. Get to these shows, and they're picking bigger venues too. It's very exciting. I mean, even tonight in Full Sail, it looked like a decent sized crowd. I don't know what it holds, but Bell's Boy says Puerto Rico. Okay. Mayor's asking, where's Carlito? You know what? This audience was asking where Carlito is too. And I could tell you firsthand where he is. He's going on my shelf in a little bit. So he's right there. Is he back with WWE? He's been with them for a bit now. He's part of their the Judgment Day. Does he still do the Apple thing? He does. Oh my God. But he he's a goofball in the WWE. He doesn't win a lot of matches, but he's back, and he's as long as they can get him back to do the Apple thing, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, gotta keep that gimmick. Absolutely. Like Mick Foley always taught us, cheap pop. Cheap pop, yes. Whether it goes his way or not, it's a cheap pop. So yeah, let's. Should we start the TNA show, or? Yeah, we'll dive into tonight's show then, because that's about it as far as new stuff. Besides they're advertising new shows going to Irving, California on May 1st and May 2nd. Those
Irvine.
tickets are going on. Irving, what did I say? Irving? Irvine? Sorry. Irvine. Tomato. No. But yeah, those tickets are going on sale February 28th, so end of next week. Keep an eye out for those. We got some people in the chat that might be going to those. Very cool. All right. So let's dive into tonight's episode. We start out with another concert, which was didn't last too long, but it was good. It was basically touting his stint in the Royal Rumble, and that he might have been. It might have been a little better had he not gotten thrown out by the OTC Roman Reigns. But nonetheless, it was still great to see him.
Banjos segment.
What's that?
It was a good dueling banjo segment.
Yes.
Because, surprise, here comes Elijah.
Well, first, yes, we did get Elijah, but we got the Colóns first interrupting.
Oh, right.
Excuse me. And that was, that obviously was not what the expected surprise was. Honestly, I don't know if anybody was expecting anything specifically, although me and the Ramblers on my other podcast did talk about the possibility of Elias showing the artist formerly known as Elias showing up in TNA. And most of us said that would be a pretty good idea if it did come to fruition. Because there was some report floating around out there that TNA was trying to court Elijah. So, and obviously it worked because
here he is.
Just when the Colóns started getting close to the ring, it looked like it was going to be a 2-on-1 attack. And Joe Hendry just, getting ready to swing his 6-stringer at him. Man. Yeah, we got the surprise of one of the biggest surprises of the night. Elijah shows up, and man, did he get a pop. I've been clamoring for this for a long time. Super stoked. And at this point, I was just hoping it wasn't a one-off that he actually was signed. Well, we did get the report that he signed, but we'll wait on confirmation from TNA. We'll see what happens. But so far, it's looking good. So he shows up, and Santino's got to do his Santino stuff, waving his badge around. And he makes it official for the main event, Alicia. Joe Hendry tagging with Elijah versus the Colóns for the main event of tonight's TNA episode.
Wow.
Then we get some backstage segments, a couple in a row here, one before the commercial, one after. First one with Leon Slater, talking about his match that's going to be later tonight versus JDC of the System. No DQ, by the way. No DQ. Anything can happen, which just, leaves it open for anybody to show up, fortunately or unfortunately. Then we have Gia Miller backstage with the Colóns, and they are just mad. They're like, man, this place needs us. This place needs us. We've got history in the business. Our name is special, So they're just like, yeah, this sounds like they want to, stake a flag in TNA. So we find out later what happens. Next, we got the first match of the evening. Rascalz with Ace Austin in their corner to even out the odds versus Tyson and Tyriek of NXT with Wes Lee in their corner. Alicia, what'd you think about this tag match?
I don't know. How about you tell me what you thought of it? And I'll play off of that.
Okay. So I like that this rivalry between Wes Lee and the Rascalz is still going, specifically because it is showing off some up and coming guys like Tyson and Tyriek. I feel like they're new to a lot of wrestling fans' eyes, especially TNA. But it's a positive for this whole partnership, big picture wise. NXT guys are coming over to TNA to get experience. Win or lose. They lost here, but I like seeing up and coming teams and what's going to happen with them. I've forever being a fan of wrestling, I've always liked to see what's the next big thing, So I feel like, Wesley's put in a situation here where he's kind of leading a new bunch of guys at his side. So he's got some muscle as some backup. I think that's pretty exciting. So it keeps this old rivalry going.
I never would have thought it would have been Wesley to take on such an interesting evolution of character and taking on such a leadership role, like his evolution from being with the Rascalz and prior to the Rascalz, Scarlett and Graves with him and Zachary Wentz. To see their evolution and how he's going solo. Well, he's got the team now, but it's quite interesting to see that he's strong in character and strong in athletics, obviously, because he wouldn't be where he is without it. It's good to see them putting their faith in him. WWE rather,
right?
Putting their faith in him.
Yeah, that is a sign of accomplishment.
Yeah, he's always been meteoric, but now he's really in the atmosphere. You know what I mean? And he's only got up and up and up to go. So good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that he's helping out this new tag team while keeping his position in the company and in this feud, he's a familiar face to TNA fans if you've been watching over the last handful of years. Mm-hmm. And I'd say, I'm trying to think, given a year here, I want to say 2017, 2018 is when Wesley started in TNA Impact, I believe. And then the other Rascalz showed up, and that was all part of that, like Midwest Ohio crew, I think.
2017-ish, 2018. That's about the year that, because it was OVE first. That was 2017, end of 2017, and then into 2018.
Callahan.
You started seeing them popping up as like enhancement work, and then they came in as the Rascalz. So,
right. Yeah, that was a whole new, fresh crop of people coming in, including a new version of son of a gun, LAX. Thank you.
Yeah, it was Mike Santana and
Ortiz. Yep.
And Diamante. Let's not forget her. She was there for a hot minute.
She was. Mm-hmm. She was. And I think she's still with AEW. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I've been so out of touch with AEW. I know the basics of what's going on over there. But
unfortunately, you already know that no matter what's going on over there, the women's division is not. So
Yeah, that's one thing that has struggled over the years. I mean, it's got high points and low points. They got ones that they keep going back to, but then they got others that haven't been.
You can tell that the people running the show just have no interest in the women's card, and therefore it's a hot mess.
Yeah.
And they have such a talented roster of women, and they all go by the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen former knockouts go over there, and just it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, if they ever make it back into the TNA ring, I will happily be excited to see them do their stuff. So either way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that day will come. It's only a matter of time.
Anyway,
that's the way the business goes.
That's the business, baby. So good match overall and good conclusion.
Yeah.
We're going to see Ace and Wes in a singles match. And that moves us on to the next segment, eh?
Well, so Wes gets in the ring and he challenges the Rascalz and Ace for a 3 versus 3 at Sacrifice.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, the Wes Lee Ace Austin match happened, was that last week? Last week or the week before?
What I'm thinking. I missed last week, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. Then we got this. Now this next segment was a bit of a hot mess. That, pardon the Chelsea Green pun, but we had the first ever first class penthouse, where first class comes out and they invite a bunch of people on stage. Majority of them, I had no clue who they were.
I know who 2 of them were.
I was familiar with Gabby. As soon as they pointed her out, I recognized her. Gabby, she used to be part of Busted Open Radio, I believe, with David LeBrecq.
Yeah, I wouldn't know her. I was talking more along the lines of Mick Foley's baby girl and her husband, the clown guy.
Are they married?
I know they've been together a long time. I'm just assuming they are. I could be wrong. It's none of my business either way.
Frank the Clown?
Yeah, it's just easier to say husband, whatever. I don't know.
Significant other.
Partner in crime. Whatever.
Yeah. They have been together for a long time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For those of you not familiar with Frank the Clown, he usually shows up with more in character at ringside at bigger wrestling events as a fan, or he had quite the stint for a while in the Midwest in the Illinois area at the Warriors wrestling shows. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. So yeah, that was crazy. He had rappers up there. He had now apparently 2 of the girls that were on the other side of the stage with Gabby are former NXT talents. So obviously local to the area, still down there. So that's why they were chosen for that, I guess. Not familiar with their stuff, but we'll see. Maybe they had maybe they'll get some tryouts. And we'll get some more knockouts in this roster. We'll see.
I think we're a little out of order, but never mind.
I'm just talking about the people that were part of that.
No, I'm just saying segment-wise, I think we're out of order, but it's all right.
Oh. Well, I know next is the Lei Ying Lee versus Rosemary match.
Did you skip over Eric Young in the Northern Armory?
Oh, you know what? I think I did.
Yeah,
that was later.
Huh.
That was after.
I wrote that down out of order then. Okay.
Yeah, that was later around the halfway point.
All right. Well,
But
either way, okay.
so we get Rosemary for the first time in the ring with Lei Ying Lee. At least I'm pretty sure it's the first time ever. What'd you think of this knockouts match?
I thought it was good as two awesome athletes. Surprise finish. I thought because she's been kind of front and center lately. I thought Rosemary would have definitely gotten the ring, but I'm curious by what this rivalry could entail because obviously Rosemary got the loss and spit the goose right into her face. So
yeah, she got misted post match, and that kind of led into another segment, which we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, we'll have to see. I got a feeling this rivalry isn't done. We'll have to see. But yeah, good match between the two. Kind of quick. Kind of quick. I wish it would lasted a little longer, but this was a loaded show, Alicia. There was so much happening here. So next we got Callahan.
We have two different perspectives of loaded, but continue.
No, I just mean there's a lot going on.
Right.
Just in general. Yeah. Between segments and matches and surprises and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. But next we got Callahan. I believe he said he was going dumbass hunting or something to that effect. So but yeah, he found one. He found Mance Warner backstage and started attacking him. And looks like we are finally confirmed later in the show. We are getting our first match between these two next week.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a shit show? I got a feeling we're going to get a match, but it may not be much of a match. It may be more of a crazy hot mess fight more than anything. Stomper. That too.
There you go.
Maybe some light beers and lariats.
Light beers.
Can't wait.
Light beers.
Next we got Doc. We got the TNA Doc backstage. Lei Ying Lee is being attended to after being misted by Rosemary. And up walks Tessa. Tessa's like, I'm ready for my physical. She's all bubbly and oh my goodness.
Awkward.
Yeah. It was
Tessa, but I've never seen someone be so demanding for a physical. Like she needed that physical like ASAP.
Yeah, because she had a match coming up, so she needed to be checked out so she could have her match. Well, apparently, that physical was not going to happen immediately because of what happened to Ying Lee, and he basically just told Tessa to, in so many words, to F off. I'm busy. So. Oh, Tessa just let him have it. And, the doctor basically was not having any of it. But Tessa just, once again, trying to throw her weight around and, her ego.
She's in her Veruca Salt era. Let her vibe.
Yeah. Just going nuts and just, putting everybody in her place.
She wants it now.
Let them know who she is and where everybody can go if they don't like it. Next we had the EY, the Eric Young and Northern Armory segment where they were on stage talking to the audience and saying, talking about what happened the week prior to Josh Alexander and that he wants Steve Macklin to join him in this new kind of revolution that he's got going on. That he and the Northern Armory are going to be on top of this company. But no response from Macklin. What do you think about this, Alicia?
He told him, hey, bro, if you go down this road, I can't follow you. And he's, giving him the cold shoulder. He's not returning his calls. They broke up, bro. They broke up. Terrible. It was a terrible idea, terrible mistake. But, Eric's got to live and learn that the grass isn't always greener in the Northern Armory.
Yeah, he's letting his ego kind of take over again. Steve Macklin's in a different place too. Where Steve Macklin's actually...
They were bros, bro. Eric Young wasn't broing, bro. And Macklin took that personal.
Yeah. Yeah, he's no bro.
Paint on for him to be a team. And this is what he got.
Yeah, and I was actually looking forward to things happening between EY and Macklin. I actually appreciated that tag team.
Invested. And this is what I get.
Yeah. Instead, EY is going to be at the side of the Northern Armory.
He's just got to clean up Josh Alexander's mess because he couldn't heel right. For shame. Heel, like the character heel. Like heel.
Oh, I hear you there.
Okay. Yeah. Just in case.
I got you.
Sometimes people don't have critical thinking skills, so they don't know how to interpret things.
I don't have a lot of critical thinking skills.
No, I'm not saying you.
But I got you there.
I'm just having an underhanded conversation here.
I got you.
Wink.
Yeah, like Swack Fan says in the chat here. He says, I am the gatekeeper. Now, there were some other things that were going on here as he was talking about, saying that everything is red. Now, someone in the chat during the live reaction made a comment towards that statement, and that what he was referencing to could be if Steve Macklin comes back for a rivalry against Eric Young, that he's going to bring some people with him. Now, apparently there's a faction going on in Callahan's company called the Red or something, where Steve Macklin's with Killer Kelly, and they're in a group together, something. So we may see something like that happen, develop in TNA. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems like there's definitely going to be, whether that happens or not, there's definitely going to be some kind of battle between EY and Macklin coming up, and I can't wait for it. Oh, here, right here. Thank you. Someone referenced it right here. Thank you. So Red is the stable that Macklin is in PW Revolver. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rosario. So, and Antonio Baker here says, Killer Kelly is part of the stable. Is Myron Reed as well? Well, he might be. I don't know. I thought he was a Rascal, but he's showed up a few times in TNA, but he didn't stick around. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Next, we've got now I came back in the middle of this, so I didn't really know what was going on, but it seemed like some kind of like some meeting going on. Somebody was leading a meeting, and Ali was trying to be motivational to some degree, and next to him was Santana. I don't know. What did you get out of this?
I didn't see it, so shoot.
You didn't see it? Okay.
I didn't get nothing.
It was right after the next commercial. So anyone wants to comment on it in the chat, by all means, let me know. But obviously, this is still all step by step leading to something going on between Ali and Mike Santana. And I'm here for it. Mayor says it was an AA meeting. Okay. I mean, that's kind of what it looked like, but I didn't want to assume that's what it was. So, but yeah, that is part of Santana's past. So that could be bringing some reality to the forefront of this. We'll see. Let's see. Next, we got. Okay, we get the announcement. Or not the announcement. Well, part of it is an announcement. They show the segment where Moose showed up in NXT on Tuesday to face off against Oba Femi, basically laying down a challenge. And also saying that the Hardys accepted the challenge from the No Quarter Catch crew of NXT, and that for the first time in what feels like forever, the Hardys are going to be back on WWE television next week. So that's going to be exciting. I got a feeling those guys are destined for the Hall of Fame, but I could be jumping the gun. We'll see.
It would only be fair. I mean, they're responsible for a good portion of WWE's popularity at the time that they were at the height of their careers.
Oh, the tag team history is phenomenal.
Tables, ladders, and chairs for life, boy.
Hell yeah. Yeah. They've been going strong since the 90s. So they have a tremendous career wherever they went, all over the place, between starting at WWF, then WWE, going to Ring of Honor, going all over the world, AEW, TNA, everywhere. So, and yes, the fact that Moose is going to be defending his X Division Championship next week on NXT versus Lexus King. Thank you, Ivan Woods, for the reminder. Appreciate it. So that's another first. So that's going to be exciting. So now we got time. Now it's time for the no DQ match. JDC versus Leon Slater. Was definitely looking forward to this one. For a while, I thought this one was going to be the headliner before we got all the surprises earlier in the night. Because that's where this kid is heading towards the main event. Absolutely, this kid is on fire. Now, unfortunately, JDC won here, but of course it was because this was all no DQ. The odds were against Leon Slater. But what did you think of this match, Alicia?
I think even with the loss, Leon Slater just he's going up, man, and I see good things happening for him in this year.
Yeah, just when he does those corkscrew like stuff, over the top rope. He did a 450 splash from the top rope to the outside on top of a table on top of JDC. Just absolute. There's just a nonstop highlight reel in this match for this episode. Just crazy. But yeah, so JDC gets the win here. The Hardys come to the rescue. They're still outnumbered because all of the system is down at the ring at this point. And who shows up to even out the odds but the NXT champ himself, the ruler of NXT, Oba Femi. Now, I know, Elisa, I know you're not familiar with Oba Femi, but what was your first, what did you think of him coming down? What did you think about his first appearance in TNA?
Impactful. Appropriate word, correct?
Pardon the pun. Sure.
Like, I don't know who he is, but he felt important. And clearly he was. So that's good.
Yeah, this crowd knew who he was. So that was...
Well, fair enough, though. That is also a WWE heavy crowd. So
it is.
They know who he is, so it's gonna get that kind of reaction. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're getting. I believe we're getting that match either at Sacrifice or next week. It's going to be Oba Femi and the Hardys versus 3 members of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Which it'll be Moose and Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, I believe. So yeah, good, very exciting stuff happening between NXT and TNA. I love it. Next, we got Tessa Blanchard out to the ring. Now this was a wild segment here. Lots of heat on this. Alicia, I want to get your thoughts on this segment. Tessa coming out to address her not having a match.
Well, she didn't get her physical. You know, you know, I had a feel. I think we were talking about this before. Is I have a feeling that the segment was supposed to go slightly different than it did, but because the chants got a little too out of control, which ultimately caused Tessa to maybe start slipping out of character. Santino came in for the rescue, followed shortly after by Masha. This goes to show when the crowd kind of takes over a segment, and you know she's got to have them nerves of steel to really brass through that, and you know she did the best she could, so good for her.
Yeah, it all ended up okay. Santino comes out to kind of quiet the crowd down, get control of the situation again. So Tessa's not doing her match, but there's someone in the ring, and I didn't even realize there was someone in the ring this whole time waiting for Tessa to have the match.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one Mila Moore. I believe she's been in TNA before. I believe she's had matches before. Not super sure.
I didn't recognize her.
Okay. But Masha Slamovich comes out and she's like, hey, you know, I'll wrestle her. So she goes down to the ring, makes short work of Mila Moore, 1, 2, 3. And out comes another surprise for the evening. But not really a surprise if you know what's going on with Masha Slamovich and her appearances in NXT. Cora Jade going after Masha Slamovich after this match, attacking her. And, like I said at the top of the show, it's official now. If you didn't catch it earlier, I'll repeat it. For Sacrifice, the TNA Knockouts Championship is going to be on the line. Masha Slamovich defending against NXT's Cora Jade.
Cora doesn't stand a chance. Oh, God, I have to say that.
Do you feel better now?
I do. I felt like I was holding my breath and the anxiety was kicking in. And if I didn't say it, I wasn't going to say it. And then I was going to regret it. And I feel better now. Thank you.
You feel okay.
Beat the bricks off of her. You know what keeps giving me away too is because Cora keeps doing that behind the back sneaky shit. And I don't think she quite grasps Masha as a person, as a human being. And that's a rookie mistake with someone like Masha, is to keep sneak attacking and getting them when their back's turned, because when they're face to face with you, you're not going to be able to run.
Yeah.
And Masha is 1,000 times superior. So
Masha's tough. Masha's very tough.
I mean, Cora Jade take light to you, okay? So come on. I'm sure, yeah, Cora isn't as unfamiliar either, but compared to Masha,
yeah. Yeah, but nonetheless, it should be a good match when these two face off. Now, there's an interesting question here. I'm just going to take from the chat and get your thoughts too. That I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
I am, and I think they should.
You think TNA should sign her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
And
she
for
fit
those,
just well.
I think so. Now, I'm not super familiar with her stuff, but I have seen some of it. So, just it seems like unfortunate that was one of those things that where she fell by the wayside in WWE. But it could be where she just needs a kickstart in her career.
WWE tends to let people slip through their fingers even when they know they've got like an A+ player right in front of them. And Indy Hartwell was that, and she unfortunately got swept up around the Vince passing of power to Triple H thing, and it fell off creatively. And I'd love to see her in TNA because I'm sure we could figure out a fun thing for her.
So one thing I did discover recently this past week, if you're a fan of the band Downstate, who has done several entrances, such as Cody's entrance.
Go ahead.
They've done several wrestlers' entrances. One for
chips.
Oh, I can't think of off the top of my head. If you go through their catalog, you'll recognize a bunch of them. Well, anyways, Indy Hartwell has brand new entrance theme music done by Downstate. So I feel like it's just a matter of time before we're going to see that theme song obviously attached to her on TV soon. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah. Oh, Dr. Gerbs, I greatly apologize. I did not. We were very late getting in here, so if you put it in super early in the chat, I did miss it. Thank you for your super chat. It's greatly appreciated, and thank you to anyone who may have super chatted or put a super sticker in the chat before we were live. My apologies. But next, speaking of knockouts, this is quite the crazy situation going on between Spitfire and Team Elegance, if you will. Looks like they've got another match coming up. I don't know if it's next week. It's the stuff between next week and Sacrifice is starting to blur a little bit, but I know it's coming up soon. So apparently there's going to be a match on the line where the Knockouts Tag Team Championships are on the line. And it's not just the championships on the line, Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins this match will have the other team be their concierge.
I love it. And cool. I think this could go either way and still be super comedic and funny.
Yeah.
And would actually, don't get me wrong, I love Spitfire, but I feel like they've been a little stale past couple of months. And so I feel like this is something that could reignite them a little bit, give them a little bit of a challenge, and to see, like, I'm on board.
I feel like, and just to piggyback on that, we need some fresh faces on top of the Knockouts tag division, which will give more attention to Team Elegance, which I feel like it's deserved. So we'll see.
Would be great. I'm sorry, I can't click the chat, but people are mentioning Sonya Deville potentially showing up, and that's another 2 thumbs up. That's a 2 snaps and a cheerio. Like,
absolutely. Here by Antonio Baker. Yeah, Sonya Deville would fit in big time. She has her YouTube channel and she talks about the not re-signing with them. She still wants to be in wrestling, and that's and that is one wrestler who's been through a lot, dealing with
I have a
some
lot of
pretty
respect
heavy
for her.
duty. Yeah, I mean, to the point where somebody actually went to prison for stalking her, or jail, or whatever. Justice was served one way or another, and that can really mess with someone's head in their career. And I believe she is one that came out on top of this.
Yeah.
She was in one of the top female women's stables in WWE. So I don't know. Maybe there's just more behind the scenes that we just don't know about. This may come out someday. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, I would love to see her in TNA. We'll have to wait and see what happens. By all means, folks, give us your opinions on that in the chat. Last but not least, we got the main event here. Eddie and Orlando Colón tagging together in TNA in the main event here versus, you ready for this, folks? I was not ready for this. Joe Hendry and Elijah. Alicia, what'd you think of this main event?
You're gonna put this on me. It was interesting. I really liked Elijah. I want to keep calling him Elias.
It's okay.
I really like his music. It's like very swamp blues, so I'm into that. I'm open to him coming around. Not so sold on the Colóns, but whatever. Nothing personal.
Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think? You tell me.
I loved it. I was number one, the fact that we got Elijah, kind of saving the day and with the opening segment with Joe Hendry and the Colóns. Shocked. I could not believe it. I was happy about the rumors being true, and like I said, that was one thing that the Ramblers and I discussed on our podcast. So I'm not going to sit here and say, be, egotistical, saying, "Oh, we called it." No, but it was something we discussed, and I'm very happy about. That's all I'm going to say.
Word up.
Yeah. So it looks like the word is out there that he has signed with TNA, which is tremendous. I've been wanting this to happen ever since, let's just say, early last year when Nick Nemeth showed up. Because if any free agents were going to show up in TNA back then, I felt like Elias was going to be one of them that showed up back then, and he didn't. Yeah. And when he didn't, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of bummed out. But, and that's nothing against Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler. I was ecstatic to see that he actually signed with TNA.
For sure.
But we've got this now. And speaking of Nick Nemeth, for those of you that don't know where he is and why he was, we'll just put in quotes, suspended. He wasn't suspended. He had a gig that he was wrestling in Qatar. Long ways away. So yeah. he was wrestling
worlds away.
He was wrestling in that event with other names such as the former Rusev, Miro, was also at that event. So, hey, maybe Nick Nemeth will have a little conversation with him and bring him back home with him. We'll have to wait and see. That would be one beast I would love to see in TNA.
For sure.
But yeah, great main event. The finish, though, now of course I wanted a longer match with this, but of course we had to get the inner, the Swag fan, you're gonna have to Google that. Just Google Qatar, Qatar, Qatar. It's around the Middle East somewhere, I believe. That or Africa, one of the two. Anyways, Oh, what was I saying? I wanted this match to go longer, but I was also shocked with how it ended. The artist formerly known as Elijah, and his tombstone pile driver. I was shocked. I don't remember him doing this in the WWE. I remember him in his big old elbow that he did off the top rope. That's what I loved him for, because it reminded me of Randy Savage. Always felt like he was kind of a throwback in that way, you know?
Well, isn't like WWE kind of weird about this? Like the tombstone pile. First of all, no pile drivers.
Right.
And you're not really gonna be allowed to use the tombstone pile driver because that's the Undertaker's move.
Correct.
Even if he doesn't do it anymore, that's gonna cause some problems.
Right. That's his shtick. So I felt like it was very refreshing to see that from Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
As surprising as it was great. So definitely put the exclamation point at the end of this match, and he got the win over the Colóns.
Right.
So Joe Hendry and Elijah stand tall. Now, someone said in the chat, feeling like this wasn't going to go well at the end. And of course, wrestling fans and, our minds tend to race in a fast forward motion once in a while. And we got to ring ourselves back in.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a great possibility where Elijah could have attacked Joe Hendry and started a feud tonight. But that didn't happen. It did not happen. We got our match, we got the win, and that was it. So we'll have to wait and see if anything else happens. But nonetheless, super stoked for the addition of Elijah to the roster, no matter how long it may be. Just glad to see his face on TV. I've missed it. How about you, Alicia?
Yeah.
Even though I know you don't maybe didn't watch a lot of WWE in the past.
Towards the beginning of his run, but again, it fell off. Okay. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good move. He's a good fit. Good wrestler. Like I said, me and Bill saw him recently a couple months ago at the Battleground in Philly. So, and he did
speaking of Bill.
Job.
Speaking of Bill, fresh
Are
out
you
of
ready to? Just as the show ended, buddy.
I said I'd make it by the end.
Fashionably.
He did.
That's okay.
Bill, what did you think of
speed round? East Coast style.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we flew through this. But I want to get. I don't want to get out of here without your thoughts on the show and the surprises from tonight. Overall, what did you think of the show overall? And then we'll talk about Elijah specifically. What did you think?
I thought it was a very good show. It was a little bit it felt like a little bit of a different style of TNA show. I'd have to look at it, but it felt a little more promo heavy probably than a usual TNA show, for especially a live show. So it seems like a slightly different format, not a bad thing, but just a little bit of a different style to it. But no, I thought it was a good show. The crowd was into it. Good surprises, because honestly, I know for live, a lot of TNA fans almost assume surprises, but I think I really wasn't thinking, like, I thought there might be some NXT surprises, which we obviously got, but I was not expecting Elijah tonight. So that was a nice surprise to kind of kick off the show.
Or the Colóns, for that matter.
I had no clue the Colóns were going to be there. Yeah, that was out of left field.
Yeah.
But no. I thought they were good. I know we've talked briefly in the past about Elijah. And he does seem like the type of guy that's almost a perfect fit for a TNA. Like, I think like that's a guy that had some good buzz, had a good push. seemed to be doing pretty well, and then it just kind of evaporated with some creative. So getting a fresh start here, someone that's already kind of established in a pretty good way, I think that's the perfect type of guy you bring in. Because I know we've talked about some other ones, like he has the possibility of a needle mover, and there just aren't a lot of those. There's ones that can build up, and you never know what could happen. But you look at these last couple of names, like the return of Tessa, Elijah, like these are superstar potential pieces they're bringing in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like they need that. This, they're going into a new phase in their company's history, and with growth, you need new faces, because otherwise you're just kind of coasting along, which is kind of what it felt like for a while. But within the last year, I feel like TNA's really been making the moves to to go to bigger venues, to get the bigger audience, to get more viewers, more eyes on the product in general.
And you do need some name recognition when you do that. Like, I'm a believer, hey, like, build from within organically, that's great. But you need butts in seats. And one of the only ways to do that is some name recognition. And we keep talking about it in this industry, with obviously WWE as the behemoth, then like AEW spending like a drunk sailor. There's really like a lot of big name talent. It can go off the market very quick. So you got to really have a fine thread and needle to pinpoint who you really want to go after.
Yeah.
And use them the right way. And it feels like that's the case here. So I'm definitely like I said, there's only a talk to other ones that I'd be like, I don't know if I'd get involved in that. Like, give some chances, great. But bring in some that the roster and help sell tickets. Venues, like obviously we saw with the return of the Hardys. Like, you can't do better than that.
Yeah, especially down south in the markets that they've been going in. Lot of positive buzz about
at this point. I say it's all markets.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the Hardys, that's a cross with a tag team of that accomplishment. Like, those fans are everywhere.
I think so. Yeah.
And I saw a lot of those fans, a lot of the old Impact Zone fans were at the show tonight, which was good to see, because not all of them made like the semi shows. So this was much more like faces that I haven't seen in years. I was seeing tonight, which is very
cool. And
cool.
you used to go to those old the TNA Impact shows in their old stomping grounds in Orlando.
Oh yeah. At Universal
Yes.
Studios. That's where I became a Universal member. So I do have a soft spot for it. I know the Universal years can be a divisive topic among the TNA faithful, especially long term. And just like anything else, you run in the same places long enough, or like stuff can get a little more stale, and it was a lot of taped stuff, but there were a lot of good moments out of there too, and the production value was always good out of Universal. So I'll never say anything bad about it. And hey, greedily for travel and stuff like that, it was very convenient, especially when they would do 5-6 days of tapings in a row.
Yeah. Sure.
So, all right. Any opinions? I think the talking point here is Elijah, but obviously with the, we got some NXT surprises tonight with Oba Femi, Cora Jade. Any thoughts on the Colóns coming in and sticking around?
I'll tell you, like, seeing Elijah was cool. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, when we knew he was out there for a bit, I was hoping he'd come in. So that was like that he actually came. Great, fantastic. I'm on board. The Colóns, if you had me guessing random names, I don't know when they would have ever came up. Like that was just out of nowhere. when the Colóns popped up, I'm like, this is a surprise. But hey, I'm willing to say, like, honestly, I have not been familiar with the Colóns lately. Like I remember when they first kind of came on the scene and some of their different gimmicks, like early in their career. But honestly, the last handful of years, I feel I did see them on something. I don't know if they showed up at an MLW show I was at a couple years ago, or if they showed up maybe at an indie show I was at. But I feel like I did see them maybe within the last 5 years somewhere. But hey, like they do have the bloodlines. There's no doubt about that. I know like there was so I'm willing, and especially tag teams. You're always looking for tag teams. So that because like I said, it kind of was out of the blue.
Yeah.
What was the recent Colóns?
Kind of. Yeah, I'd say more or less positive. Probably maybe if I paid more attention. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
Indifferent for me. Positive, but indifferent.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like as far as career-wise, I'd say they've had a pretty positive career, going around the world, a lot of history with the WWE, some ups and downs gimmick-wise, but that's neither here nor there. Just as far as
I'm seeing in the chat, that's where I saw them.
Oh, okay.
NWA, that makes sense, because I've been those. So, yes, thank you for saying that. That's probably where I saw them.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes it becomes a blur.
Wait, yeah. You have been to a few shows, haven't you, Bill?
Well, speaking of someone that's been to a few shows, I ran into somebody at this show, TNA legend.
Oh.
And I have a pic. J-Bone, you should get this. I'll just say. Now, there's two legends in this photo. One is also big fan Lucas, who I know you've met in the center there with his WCW hat. But the gentleman on the other side, can you recognize him, J-Bone? Oh, hold on. Let me get back in the camera.
Oh, is that the one and only Lemon guy?
Lemon guy. You thinking Manny Lemons? No.
Yeah. Is that no?
Think of the Asylum.
Oh, you're talking about the guy in the middle.
No, not the guy in the middle. That's the guy in the middle. That's Lucas. He's a fan with the WCW hat.
Oh,
it's Tiny.
Okay.
Tiny the Timekeeper.
Oh, see, I'm not familiar with. Okay, I've heard of him, but I'm not familiar with him. I see. I thought the guy in the middle at first was James Storm. I thought that's who that was.
No, Tiny the Timekeeper from the Asylum.
Okay.
He had some spots in our Asylum reviews.
He did, because he was always at ringside with Don West and
the Professor.
Yes, thank you,
Mike Tenay.
I'm sorry. Sometimes, just, the names just escape me. But yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about a gimmick that maybe was, that I mentioned, Los Matadors with El Torito. I wish TNA would bring
Los
back
Matadors.
A micro division. Well, I know there's one floating around the country right now. Go see them when they come to your town.
Yeah, the ones out of Pigeon Forge, and they travel.
Something like that. I know some of them have come locally around here in the Midwest, I believe. But yeah. So yeah, the guy in the middle in that picture definitely, just because of the quality of the picture, definitely did look like James Storm. Because you're going to talk about TNA legends. That's the first name, one of the first names that's going to pop in my head.
James Storm is a TNA legend. I'll definitely go with that.
Especially from the Asylum days. Yeah. So
we
yeah.
didn't talk. Did you guys get into it? What was the TNI fan Tessa reaction?
The what? I'm sorry.
The reaction from Tessa.
Lot of heat. There's
a lot of heat. It was burning.
Couldn't quite. It seemed like it got to the point where it was almost pretty much go away heat, because when Santino came out, kind of had to chill the crowd out a little bit. It got to the point where Tessa couldn't even couldn't spit her promo out.
Well, which she's done a good job of doing so far, because she's gotten pretty heavy heat most
she has
shows, but she normally has a line and it gets them off of them and changes direction. But yeah, like there's only been so many with that heat. Like I still remember like prime early EC3 heat, and that was just like the Dixie Carter nepotism angle that was getting just super heat from the crowd, like where you could not hear his promos. They were just going after him so much, like the "you can't wrestle," but then he started doing his shtick. They're like, "I disagree, you suck."
Right.
Like so, but overall, I thought it was good. But obviously, it still blows my mind though that for the most part, the heat she gets goes back to before she won the world title, and she never had that heat. It's just the timing.
It's true.
Not here. It doesn't work.
Right.
The people weren't giving her the heat then. There were some, but the heat now, it's like that's post all this.
Yeah.
Like you're going before. Like you're looking at it through your Captain Hindsight on this topic. And that's, if you were an original booer while she was the champ, go ahead, keep doing it.
Right.
But if you're like thinking this is like new news or something, you're late to the party, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Because there really hasn't been a lot of news about her out there recently. You know, she's been keeping to her own down south in Mexico.
And if you're a TNA diehard that the whole title thing is your issue, go ahead. Fair game.
Yeah.
But everything else that people want to do, like that's like you're talking a while ago.
Yeah.
that happened the night that news broke the night before World Champion. And then the company stuck by her. So once again, that tells you something.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. So,
well, I think
cheer and boo for whoever you want. Just make sure if you're going to get specific in how you do it. I don't know. Maybe stay up with current events.
There you go. Word from the wise, Mr. Front Row Bill. Thank you. So on that note, I know it's getting late for some of us, so we're gonna wrap this up, and but we're still glad that you came in.
Looking forward to a big show next week, already announced. So.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure the tapings are just gonna escalate from here. Especially with the tapings sold out. That's still great to see. It's great to see.
Yes. Yeah, because the way they do it now, it's like pretty much before the live show and then after the live show, they continue to tape. So pretty much most of next week's show is in the can already.
Yeah.
Other than like backstage vignettes and all that.
True. Yeah. So just want to remind folks before we get out of here, please go check out the links in the description of the video. Helps us out a lot, especially with Manscaped. And if you want to help others, Chris Bay's link for his GoFundMe is in the description, along with another one that was just added today that we saw with the news coming out about Jake something. That I was going to add that in the news, and I apologize, I did not do that. But that link for his GoFundMe, because he has, I believe it's a torn tricep. So he's going to be out for a while, sadly. So that GoFundMe is there. You can go help out. Some companies are doing shows, to help raise money for that too. It's great to see. But yeah, go check out our links in the description. Make sure on your way out, you know what to do, folks. Smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when our content hits you live. So good night, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for all sorts of TNA action right here on YouTube and Twitch and wherever you get your podcast audio worldwide. Good night, folks.